Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Tyranny with me, Bring It On. Alright, Verse, what's on your mind? How did you do that? Verse looks at you with a quizzical expression. Do what? I'm back in the Archon's war tent. You cast an edict as casually as reading a supply shipment. How did you do that? Well, I've done it before. Don't I look stupid? You're the one who cast the Edict of Storms on Stalwart, didn't you? The one that tore the battlefield apart with a cyclone of Kyros' anger. That was me, alright. Well, call me impressed. Considering that you've read the words of Kyros more than once, I'm surprised that you're even alive to tell of it. Your vocal cords should have turned to ash by now. I'm not trying to make you feel uncomfortable. It's just worth recognizing what you've done. Not only are you Tunon's Fatebinder, you're the mouthpiece of the Overlord. Gives me plenty of reason to stick around. You're going places, and I want to see where they lead. If you say so. I have some questions about you.
What do you need?
So I wanted to...
You already know that I memorize the moves of my Scarlet Fury sisters. If it seems like a total mystery to me, I don't know how you could have arrived at any conclusions, but I'm open to ideas.
So I think option 3's most in my character's character, so we're going to go with that. I think you're just a darn good fighter.
Shucks. You know just what to tell a girl, don't you? I'll thank you to spare me the empty compliments.
Okay, I was afraid initially that option 3 would lock me out of options 1 and 2, but that does not seem to be the case. So neat. Well, let's talk to Graven Ashe. The Archon of War lets out a long sigh, and slowly looks up to make eye contact. What is on your mind? Your regiment here in Vendrian's well is small, even by disfavored standards. This conquest has spread thin. Every league we conquer must be held. I issued the call to assembly, but most of the cohorts remain trapped across the mountains. No bother. Won't be the first time I've had to do much with little. I need to know why conquering a few lowly tiersmen is so impossible a task. The Archon lets out a long sigh, glaring at you with a furrowed brow. It's not for lack of trying. Earlier in the year, when the chorus were still gathering to the valley, I launched a raiding party to head straight to the Citadel. They never made it past the Mittani River. With no disfavored survivors, and no core scouts with eyes on the situation, I know very little of what occurred, only that they died quickly. That left me short-handed and in need of more troops, and they've been slowly trickling in from everywhere, and I guess I've been guilty of waiting for my numbers to be overwhelming instead of merely enough. What became of the warriors you left to garrison this region years ago? I too have questions about that. The Archon inhales sharply, his posture becoming defensive. His cold blue eyes stare at you with an unblinking intensity. I have reason to believe that when the garrison was taken, the disfavored were slain, not by the Oathbreakers. And though I know it in my bones, I cannot prove the voice of Nerat is at fault. Well, what's your reason to believe such a thing? It is well known that I can protect my soldiers from harm, even if they are beyond my sight. What is less known is that I sense every cut, every kill, every illness. No harm to my soldiers escapes my notice. Of the warriors posted at the Vendrian's Well Citadel, only 2 were slain in the uprising, but a few others died later, and horrible painful magic was involved. My son was one of those who died under such unusual circumstances. That was the grave we saw to the north of the disfavored camp. For a second, the Archon of War trembles, his eyes widening with a faraway stare. Yeah, the Tiersmen have customs against killing prisoners. I'd expect your warriors to be slain in the heat of battle, but not after. Do they? I suppose I'm guilty of paying little heed to what these hillfolk believe. This makes it all the more troubling they died when they did. I need to consider what you have told me. Let us speak of something else. Okay, so I can't pick another option. What can you tell me of Cairn, the late Archon of Stone? I should have known sooner that his heart strayed from Kyros. I needed to split our forces, send him to Azure while I tackled Stalwart, but that was a mistake. Without me looming near, he must have felt free to live out his traitorous dreams. Why do you think he turned against Kyros? Karen only served us because death was the alternative. He did not admire the unity and progress that Kyros brings. While I suspect Chorus agents may have whispered treachery in Karen's ear, I think it wholly possible Karen fell into disloyalty by his own volition. And what has become of Karen's disciples, the Earthshakers? Karen's chief disciple Radix now speaks for the guild. It is true that my warriors are a bit apprehensive about our magical abilities. Many suspect Karen's treachery was taught to them. But I have vetted the guild, pruned whom I don't trust, kept those I can. Alright, let's speak of something else. What is on your mind? Your distrust of the voices in Nerat is plain as day. How did this antipathy begin? Our rivalry is an old one. The voices of Nerat served Kyros before I did. I believe he hates me for being of roughly the same status in the eyes of the Overlord, despite being the younger Archon selected to lead an army through the tiers. The Archon furrows his brow, grumbling softly as he stares. This war seems to have brought out the worst in us. We've disagreed on strategy at every turn. Well, I think you're right to be wary of the voices of Nerat. I'm glad you concur, for I feel my paranoia around him is somewhat justified. Alright, salute, turn to leave. That is all. For the glory of Kyros, the Archon of War taps the haft of his maul on the ground for emphasis, then turns back to his maps. Alright, let's get out of here. I thought the load times in this game are just a little long.
Right.
Cevius, I think, is new. Fateminder Donald, am I right? I'm Cevius, Commander and 3rd generation Disfavored. Specifically, I'm Cevius the Younger. Some folks can't keep track. The rank says Commander, but lately, I'm just organizing patrols and trying to stay out of the way. You should talk to Iron Marshal if you've something official that needs discussing. What is it you need? I've heard you asking that Earthshaker where the reinforcements have gone. Is there a problem? I didn't see that at all. I'm afraid so. Radix, the head of the Earthshakers, was supposed to arrive with a group of his most competent spellslingers to help break this stalemate. I don't know what's holding up their arrival, and that worries me. If you're at all inclined to lend a hand, we could use some arcane support on our side. I could lend a hand. Could you? Could you? I know that Tunan's agent wouldn't fail us in a time of need. I'll mark the last known site of our Earthshaker reinforcements on your map. Good hunting, Fatebinder. Why do you think the siege is delayed for so long? It should have been over real quick and simple. The first cohort arrived in the valley and went right for the kill. That was before we knew the Vendrian Guard had sages and that Water Witch on their side. A bigger problem is the Scarlet Course. They eagerly conscript the Vendrian Guard, but I have no proof of this. But it seems they do very little to keep a watchful eye on these drafted tiersmen. They often send out a patrol, and we suspect they use that opportunity to escape back to the Vendrian Guard. Every Course conscript has a choice. Life under Kyros, or death under the army's boots. By all means, feel free to cut down those who choose the latter. We won't be offended. Just so we don't mistake each other, I know what I'm saying carries an implication of treachery. I'm not making a formal accusation before Tunan's agent. I'm just voicing my gut opinion on the matter. The two armies haven't worked well together in years. Why do you think that is? Come on, Binder. Seems like asking why beasts stink. The Disfavored are only too eager to deliver Kyros' peace to the tiers, while the Scarlet Course bring only mayhem in their wake. You can tell me the Voices of Nerat has a plan, and I'll take your word for it. But the Course sure seem to blunder around, never moving with purpose as we do. I wonder if we've been fighting the same war soldier. I've seen Ashe yank his precious soldiers away from more battles than he's won. If you want to call that progress, be my guest. Unless we find a way to work as one, I fear that the Scarlet Course will step in front of Graven Ashe's strategies at every turn. As far as I'm concerned, it seems like the Voice of Nerat is here to amuse himself, while the rest of us are here to do our job. Alright, tell me about yourself. Not much to tell. My father was Cevius the Elder. His father was Cevius the First of his name, lead drill master of Ashe's first Iron Guard, back when they were the Bronze Guard. I was born into the Legion, and with any hope, I'll die in the Legion. The rest you will hopefully hear about when the storytellers immortalize me. The Iron Guard. The Iron Guard is the Disfavored High Command, an inner circle of commanders handpicked by Graven Ashe for lifelong service, tactical brilliance, or true dedication to the craft of personal combat. The Iron Guard act as Graven Ashe's chief advisors when the Archon is present, and when he is absent, they speak with his direct authority. Even the youngest Iron Guard has years of training, and the finest iron the forge-bound magesmiths can create, making these elite commanders nearly unrivaled in the field of battle. The senior leaders are expected to lead from the front of the phalanx. It is said that the Iron Guard fear only one thing, dying in their beds instead of in battle. Bronze Guard. Well, his day and age was a century ago. They didn't have Kyros' modern luxuries like iron. So back then, the Great General's Inner Council was known as the Bronze Guard. You should be proud of your pedigree. Thanks. I try not to think about it too fondly. If anything, every time I screw something up, I wish I wasn't dragging the family name through the mud along with me. Alright, back to my other questions. I didn't see what the other options were. I thought I was going to go through all of them. Alright, so we have another side quest. You know what, I'm actually going to go sell some stuff. I'm going to sell it all to the same merchant. Oh, I didn't see this. Pressed around the corner of this prison, cell absorbs much of the stench. There's no one in there. It shouldn't stink. So I'm going to sell all of this stuff. I'm going to hope that their inventories don't restock, so if I do end up needing any of that, I can come back and get it. I don't know. How's that compared to my current weapon? Less damage than that. How about this one? So more damage, 0.5 more DPS and +2 accuracy. That is a straight upgrade. So I will sell. I do feel like this inventory system isn't super intuitive. It's not the worst, but it could be better. I want to see how this one-handed weapon compares to these. So that's a javelin, 9 to 14, 10 to 13. Don't know if the javelin's worth equipping. No, because she has a bow. She has a bow-based ability, so she needs that. So, alright, let's sell that as well. We'll sell javelin, I guess this sword, and this. I'll keep the staff, just in case. And I still have two one-handed weapons on my person as well, with Phalanx and Rot and Ruin. Well, let's go talk to Iron Marshal Erenyos. Don't just coddle the impact. Push back with your shield. Take the momentum. Iron Marshal Erenyos, field commander of the Disfavored, pounds her fist in the air as she calls out to the warriors in the training field. I set eyes on your opponent's waistline. If you spend more than a glance checking his footwork, you've lost. Oh, we got cool shoulder pads. The Disfavored officer turns to you, adjusting her pale golden surcoat as she clears her throat. You just stay on top of the troops or their skills will rust. It's for their own good, even if they don't believe it. Judging from her uniform, this is the Iron Marshal Erenyos, first among equals in the Iron Guard, Graven Ashe's inner circle of trusted followers. Charged with being the duties of leadership. Logistics and training. There is rarely a quiet day for the second in command of the Disfavored Legion. As mentioned, you're short on warriors and need help. What's the situation? A brigade's massing along Placid, Echo Call, and Little Tooth crossings. The Vendrian Guard may be able to hold one bridge, but they cannot hold against a concerted three-pronged attack. I have no right to give you orders, but... Her words falter, a short cough breaking her flow. But we all died to Kyros' edict, should we fail. So I'm not about to let my pride blind me to the value of good help. This is the second major attack on the river, correct? What happened last time? Defeat in detail. We carved a bloody path up to the river, but at that point, everyone who charged ahead was lost. We had no course backup, with just a few disfavored squads. I can't tell you exactly how they were defeated, but we lost the whole assault team. She shakes her head, letting out a long, pained sigh. We found bodies washing up in the river for days. It's not often the Tearsmen put up such a good fight. It certainly made us reevaluate the number we'll need to take this valley. Really? Are you sure our scouts didn't give you all sorts of details about the enemy, and you just choose to disregard our warnings? Yeah, I don't think the Disfavored would disregard advice from the course. I'm sure the Disfavored would have heeded any such advice. Maybe the next time we won't be so forthcoming. Let's see how many of your precious northern stock survive this war without our intelligence to back them up. Don't test me, Fury. That sort of talk gets us nowhere. What's the value of taking the crossing? We can't just march from here to the Citadel with the Vendrian Guard manning the riverbanks. Forwarding troops and supplies through even the narrowest points of the river makes us vulnerable to attack. Especially since our armor wasn't built for swimming. She points north toward the mountain spire looming on the horizon. If we can take the river, we have a clear march to the Citadel, and Ascension Hall will be ours in no time. The Disfavored need my help. Trying to pour salt on my pride. We left Fort Resolution with 100 on 100, and there have been no reinforcements or reserves. I keep throwing warriors back into battle before they're properly rested. So yes, I need to rely on all our allies. Especially since most of our allies are conscripted Tearsmen, worse than useless. If the Disfavored didn't take every opportunity to insult the Scarlet Chorus, perhaps you'd find our help more forthcoming. Shut your snout, filthy mongrel. I won't suffer childish japes in my camp. Yeah, it is not... You shouldn't insult the host. But the Disfavored do mock the chorus a lot. I don't know... Yeah, she has a point. The Disfavored constantly mock the Scarlet Chorus. The Disfavored have history, pedigree, proper training. All the things these southern conscripts lack. We didn't train for decades to be peers and equals of these traitor Tearsmen. We've lived lives of dedication to Kyros, and the Chorus accepts any fickle coward too fearful to die by their convictions. What you're seeing here is Disfavored bigotry at its finest. I'm somehow at fault because my country wasn't conquered before I was born. Forget that I chose Kyros. Forget that I chose the Scarlet Chorus. Forget that I chose to fight off rapists and killers to earn my place in the army, just for the Disfavored to call me a worthless turncoat to my face. No one gave me a suit of armor that I could hide behind. No one issued me a sword and a measure of authority. I took everything that I have. I fight every day to keep it. Stupid northern swine. My frustration was aimed at those in the chorus who accept Kyros lightly. The Disfavored commander withdraws a half pace, like loyalty were some shifting breeze. Now, what's my help worth to you? What's it worth? Erenyos takes a half step back, placing her arms on her sides. If you read the edict. If we don't take Ascension Hall, it's your sorry hide too. Do you need a bribe to care about your own survival? No, that's not how No, I'm not taking that option either. I will assist. Then our plan just might work. The Iron Marshal lifts her gauntlet close to her face, shifting her eyes from you to the metal articulations. We're loath to work with those who do not share our training, and our values. But we know that Tunon the Adjudicator selects only the most capable minds for his court. And I trust you'll honor us all on the field. And I've fought with you guys before, so. Antio will be leading the charge at the Echo Call Crossing. Assisting you will be... I don't know if it's... I'm going to say Barik. Barik of the Stone Shields. She points to a heavily armored soldier standing sentry at the edge of the training field. Before you ask... Now, the Forgebound weren't sloshed on Dappleseed when they fitted his armor. He survived the full force of the Edict of Storms, and his armor doesn't exactly come off. Tactically, it's quite brilliant, but otherwise, it's something of a curse. Tapping her helmet twice, Erenyos signals to the hulking presence. Barik, come meet the Fatebinder. The soldier that steps up to you better resembles an amalgamation of rusted blades and mismatched pieces of armor, fused into a vaguely human shape. He reeks of sweat, feces, and whatever oil treatment keeps him flexible.
Fatebinder, the Iron Marshal has tasked me with keeping you alive, and I have no intention of disappointing her. That should be enough assurance for anyone.
An honor.
Likewise, good Binder.
The soldier heaves a heavy iron arm into a salute, his whole body clanging as he wraps his gauntlet against the twisted sheets of metal that form his breastplate.
Barik, is that you under there? I had no idea you were in Vendrian's well. Fatebinder, do you know this walking anchor?
Just a minute. You two know each other?
No. Oh, that is to say, yes. I'm already as familiar with this ironclad halfwit as I care to be.
She regards Barik with a mixed look.
We don't have time to trade jabs today, Verse. After the siege, you can throw as many tantrums as you please. I suggest that we remain focused on the mission.
No offense to the mission, but seeing you looking like a garbage heap and reeking of a mass grave is more amusing by far. Did you forget how to don your armor, or did Graven Ashe leave you out in the rain?
Barik sighs, a frustrated growl shaking his iron enclosure of his suit. I encountered Barik in the Stalwart campaign. There appears much changed. He's an excellent soldier.
You're generous to say so. I'm afraid I left the better part of myself on the killing fields of Stalwart, but it's still in my pride and honor to serve the Legion.
His voice falters. You can't tell if it's hesitation or regret that stalls him. The Fatebinder will be joining us for the push across the river. I figured an extra hand might help. And more importantly, if my worries come true, and the Chorus tries to impede the mission, we'll have an observer from the court on our side.
Better to work with the Honorable Binder than some Chorus children.
He nods to you, his armor creaking as he bends his neck. I ask that Barik accompany you there to arbitrate the cooperation between his company and the Scarlet Course. Now Barik, you've been without a cohort since the last Battle of Stalwart. It's time we gave you a task more worthy than hauling wagons and leading training drills. She plants her hands on her hips and speaks in clipped official terms. Ashe has assigned you to the Fatebinder's service. You're to assume this task is ongoing until we find a more permanent spot for you, which could very well mean the swiftly approaching end of this war, or when the Fatebinder dismisses you. Is that understood? Barik regards the Iron Marshal in impressive silence. That's an order, Barik. She shakes her head and sighs, returning her focus to you. He can be as stubborn as pulling a spire out of the earth, but he's a good soldier. I hope you don't mind the company. I'm honored to have a member of the Iron Legion at my side. Excellent. I look forward to your success in the field. Alright, we'll talk to him next time. Let's see what he's capable of first. So striking iron, what does it do? Damage. Plus 200% damage if engaged by the target enemy. Strike a single enemy, dealing significantly increased damage if the target is engaging Barik. Clash of Iron issue a mocking invitation, challenging enemies to attack Barik. So does a taunt. Well, that sounds good. Ooh, this sounds good too. Reduce enemy resolve by 1 for 3 seconds. Is it just a chance? Nope, it is a permanent. So every 3 seconds they have their resolve reduced for 3 seconds. So it's a permanent resolve reduction. That's really good. I think I'm going to grab the taunt though.
Yes.
Because battlefield manipulation is always a good thing to have. Do something like that. Alright, what's his gear? Before we go forward. Let's see, 9 to 11. This is just better. So we'll give him the shield. Do something like that. Oh wait, he has a point to spend. I think I'm just gonna go with strength for now, or might for right now. We should have enough subterfuge for this. Heavy leather gloves. Let's see what that's all about. Where's it at? So it seems like it's a straight upgrade to what I currently have equipped. Oh, he probably can't equip anything because he's fusing his armor. Okay. And I'll keep her as is for right now. Alright.
On it.
I don't think there's anything else here to do. How much money am I sitting on? Let me go check the this weapon merchant down here real fast. So I did sell a bunch of stuff and I might be able to afford something good before we head out. Get a tower shield, which would be good for, I guess, Barik. We'll hold off for now. I'm sure I'll find decent stuff in the places we're heading to anyway, so no need to be hasty with our expenditures. Alright, where to? So we go to the Scarlet Course camp and we go to Echo Call Crossing, which we have to get to the camp anyway, so. I'm tempted to go back here. Well, hold on, let me, what's my lore at? I still need 2 more points of lore. Let me check one more thing. I want to see if these trainers can train me in lore. I don't think they could. I think it's all physical training, but we'll see. Because then if I can get 2 more points of lore, I can go back to Edgering Ruins and get all the stuff that I missed. Oh, they said something different here. I'll have to look at the log real fast. Alright, so I came up. Welcome back, Fatebinder. Lucy here was just mentioning that only because you asked. You've been a real asset to the Disfavored ever since you arrived. Not that anyone expected different. He beams at you with pride. Alright, so the Legion boasts so much honor. Why are they disfavored? The story is common knowledge, but we don't discuss it here out of, well, it's not considered polite. It has to do with Graven Ashe and the rise of Kyros' empire. I'm sure you can put some of the pieces together. Ashe and Kyros weren't always on the best of terms, but all that has changed. By rights, we should have a name worthy of our vaunted reputation by now, but she shrugs. Maybe someday, after my children's children have inherited my armor, we'll have a better title to call our own.
On it.
Alright. In that case, we'll head back down here. The next episode will probably just be talking to Barik. If he has as much to say as Verse does, then we're going to be speaking to him for a little while. In the meantime, I'm going to call the episode here. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next one.